Textbook analysis. An integrated curriculum is frequently used for early grades with no clear separation between dominant religious content and non-religious content in materials given to religious minorities. In other words, in grade 1 or 2 or 3, we may have most of our students Muslims. There may be 1 or 2 Christians or maybe 1 or 2 Hindus and some other minority groups, but all those children study the same content, whether it is religious or non-religious. Yes, doing the same language, doing the same mathematics, doing the same science makes sense. Even doing the same ethics makes sense. But what about the differing religious beliefs? That does not make sense. So, ethics, all religion, more or less give the same values, give you the same principles of ethics. The beliefs may be different, the means may be different, but other than that, the values and principles tend to be more or less same across religions. Is that fair then to the minority students? What should one do? This is perhaps the most apparent violation of the minorities' rights as enshrined in Article 22 of the Constitution. Just a little while ago, we looked at Article 22 of the Constitution that said no religious group should be able to perform worship, ceremonies, be part of teachings that are not based particularly on their own religious beliefs. So, even if we have 2 Christian or 1 Hindu or 3 Sikh students in our classrooms, religion periods must be separate. And that is the constitutional right of all minority students in any of our classrooms today. Dominant religious values, cultural values, and national aspirations are an integral part of textbooks. In other words, our textbooks are based heavily on Islamic traditions, Islamic teachings, and principally, I don't think there is anything wrong with that. But if you're going to do that, you should also try to bring in a little bit of what other religions profess and teach. For example, a review of the compulsory Urdu language textbooks for all students up to grade 10, published by the Punjab Textbook Board in the years past, showed that. Stories of heroes, stories of men and women who've contributed, all tend to be Muslim. A lot of minorities over the years since 1947 have also played a constructive role in the progress and development of the nation, but they are not to be seen anywhere in our textbooks. This study found that 96 chapters and poems out of 362 had a strong Islamic orientation, without any mention of Pakistan's religious minorities or their beliefs. So, about 1/4, roughly, of the total stories and poems were heavily based on Islamic orientation. 3/4, roughly, were secular. But you see, when you never mention the other minorities, it is very difficult to learn and to understand that there are people other than Muslims also living in Pakistan, also in our schools, also wanting to receive an education, and also wanting to contribute to the growth, progress, and prosperity of this nation. An examination of the first grade textbook used for the integrated curriculum, titled Meri Kitab or My Book, which is required for the majority of public school students, revealed that 7 of the 16 total chapters contained Islamic sermons. That is roughly half the book. So why not even include with those Islamic sermons? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Include 1 or 2 chapters on what other religions are all about, not necessarily what other religions preach, But what are they all about if young people never realize that there are people other than Muslims among them and that we all are Pakistanis first? It will not help in the future. And this disparity between the majority and the minorities will continue to exist. In the accompanying instructions, teachers are instructed to underscore its Islamic content, which simply means that although those 7 chapters are included with a professed Islamic content heavy over there, the teachers are told not to focus too much on that. If the teachers are not to focus on that, why would you want to include it? Because what is in a textbook needs to be taught. And if teachers are not going to do it, there is no purpose, there is no sense in having it as part of the textbook.